On May 25th, 2015, Nigeria took a bold step by enacting the Violence Against Persons Prohibition Act, commonly known as the VAPP Act. It's Nigeria's most comprehensive law that promises protection for survivors and penalties for offenders. 10 years later, Invictus Africa asks a simple yet important question. Is this promise being fulfilled? The answer, not quite. Invictus Africa VAPP Act Implementation Survey, which captures 11,574 respondents across 35 states and the FCT, reveals a hard truth. Over half of Nigerians have never heard of the VAPP law. Yes, you heard right. 50.7% of Nigerians don't know about the very law meant to protect them. In 13 states, there's no sex offenders register. 6 states have no shelters or sexual assault referral centers called SARCs. And 9 states don't have the basic coordination structures to implement the law. This means that gender-based violence survivors, who are often women and children, are left without support and justice. Now imagine you're a young woman with little to no education, living in a rural area. You're assaulted and you seek help, but there's no center, no counseling, no forensic evidence, and worst of all, no one around you know there is a law meant to defend you. This isn't fiction. This is Nigeria in 2025. Yes, there's progress. Courts in 32 states can issue protection orders, and some states are prosecuting offenders. But the gaps outweigh the progress. We need more than patchwork progress to a system that works for everybody. It's time to bridge the gap between the law on paper and the reality on the ground. We need louder awareness, stronger enforcement, accessible survival services, and coordinated institutions. Because laws don't protect. Laws, together with people, functional system, and political will, protect. To state governments, it's not enough to pass the VAPP law. Implement it, fund it, monitor it. If we want to stop tragic stories like Osinachi, Chioma, Success, Esther, Salome, Christiana, and Damilola, then we need to keep raising awareness about the VAPP Act. 10 years is long enough. This is a wake-up call.
The VAPP Act came with a lot of potential, with promise, but yet there's no fulfillment. Again, as always, I will always praise the Lagos State Domestic and Sexual Violence Agency being managed by TT Vival Adini. There are referral centers, Checheyara, because I work with them, Project Alert on Violence Against Women and Children. We even have them giving training like forensic and also working with some parts of the police force. We also have WARIF, which is the Women at Risk Foundation. So many of them, a few of them, but mostly Lagos State. I think Ekiti also had when Erelu Bisifayemi was there, because she's a huge advocate for that as well. So I will throw this straight on the table of the First Ladies. At least let that be your pet project. It's not about rapper and women leader, you know. Take this as your, because it's women. It's women, it's young girls, it's even babies, you know, that are going through all of this. So let that be your project whenever you're in office with your husband, you know, make that something that you take as, you know, a newborn baby. And yes, we need sexual offense registers. And like Zuma always says, she said, the law without a consequence is a suggestion. So I don't want to believe that the VAPP Act is a suggestion. All the names you mentioned, all products of sexual violence, and we need to just say zero tolerance.
So for me, I know about this act and the contents, but if you had asked me if I know the VAPP Act, violence again, okay, probably no.
Okay, you just know VAPP, you don't know the meaning.
No, I know the contents.
Okay,
because when it was first passed, we discussed a lot about it, definitions of rape, you know, it defined things, but I didn't know it neatly as Violence Against Persons Prohibition Act, you know. So that was one thing. Maybe there will have been a way to coin the name, because it sounds like, how is it different from other violence, you know? But if you read the contents of the act, you will see how rich it is. But that's just by the way. Now, I really like the fact that you mentioned shelters and Sexual Assault Referral Centres. This is where civil organizations need to come in. It's not only political parties, civil organizations fighting elections so that they get relevance, okay? Laws like this that are meant to protect the vulnerable in society, civil societies need to push them, because how many laws do we know really? You know, there are so many laws, but how many do we as citizens know? Just the same way we're ignorant of many of those laws, we're ignorant of this. But a law like this is too important, okay, to be left just like any other law. And I think civil society organizations must do more. And where governments can actually come in directly with funding is things like the shelters and the Sexual Assault Referral Centres, because I don't think they can fund a law directly, but when they fund like the SARCs centers, it leaves an avenue for those who are aggrieved to go and so yeah, I think it's a wonderful advocacy, and it calls on us to be more aware.
Please, I have a question, right? If something happens to you, who would you want to call first?
Your family.
No, so aside the family, you want to report it to the authorities?
Yes.
No, aside your family, if you then want to report it to the
Yes.
authorities, who would you call first? It's the police, right? I can even bet my life on it. That police, your Nigerian police force doesn't know that this law exists.
They know, and they receive training, from
From
some of
who?
these NGOs.
From
I'm
where?
telling you, I've worked with Project Alert. They receive training. I'm telling you, they have.
So if you walk into a
offenders
police
desk.
station now,
It's not all of them that have the desk.
okay.
Yeah,
Gender desk, not all of them, but they are. Sorry.
My point is anyway that, like you have rightly said, we need more than patchwork, right? Implementation has always been a problem, not just for VAPP, but everywhere, which is where this our famous quotes now came from. Suggestion, right? Implementation. If you are adapting it, even at the end of the day, like you said, how are you funding it? If you can't fund it directly, there are things that you have to put in place to ensure it works. For me, my eyes is on the Nigerian police, because I've not heard any young woman who walks into the police station to say, even that they slapped me, that's what you do when they slap you.
Yeah.
Right? The kind of questions and interrogations that you have to go through at the police station is not friendly at all. In fact, using the word friendly is almost, I can't find the right word, but it's not friendly at all.
Conducive.
So that comes in as well. So we need to, that training and implementation, let it also start from the Nigerian police force, and let them even understand, because the level of patriarchy that go on in that Nigerian police force. In fact, it's a policewoman that will deal with you.
Thank you.
And tell you is what you are wearing that caused what happened.
Right, to be honest.
So that's
one
for
of the
me.
statistics that came out of the survey was that averagely in some states, you're looking at about 20 convictions in a year. Lagos State came up with the highest conviction of about 60.
Obviously.
Of course.
In a year. And that tells you, that actually just confirms what you're saying, that we're not persecuting enough
Of course.
of this
It's a family matter.
issues, and we're not convicting enough.
How many have been reported?
Okay.
Thank you.
For me, I think a law without awareness is worse than a law without consequences.
Zuma has come again.
Another
We will write it down.
Repeat.
A law without awareness is worse than a law without consequences. When people ask me about what is the most important part of advocacy, I tell them it is sensitization. People need to know.
You need to know their rights.
They need to know their rights. And that is where the national orientation comes into play.
God,
Again, we have to go back to
These people
them.
again.
We have to go back to them because this law is so all-encompassing and it protects everybody. My favorite part of it is the fact that it recognizes that males can be victims of sexual violence.
Absolutely.
It's not even a woman-only thing. It captures everybody and it criminalizes actions like spouse abandonment. You just see men abandon their wives and they will go somewhere. You see women abandon their children. They don't even know it's illegal. So when the populace know that when people do these things, there are consequences attached to it, it becomes better. So please, civil society organizations, National Orientation Agency, we need to do more in letting people know that these
They're
laws
busy with
exist to
national anthem.
protect them.
It's the national anthem.
They are
We're
busy
still
with
talking
How many
to
laws
now.
do you know?
Elsie.
How many laws do you
I know
know?
the important ones, the ones that apply
No,
to
you
my
know, you
daily
say the
living.
law without awareness is like...
It's worse than a, please get the quote
No,
right.
we'll get
A
it
law
right.
without
It is.
awareness is worse than a law without consequence.
Because-
Get the quote
because many of
right.
us are very ignorant of laws. to be
Zoom out with the
honest.
quote.
Oh, shit.
You know, just to buttress something that Andy said. So the VAPP Act is a federal law, but it needs to be domesticated.
Domesticated
Yeah.
by the state.
Each
And
state
I think about
for it to
34
be
states
Yeah.
have domesticated
No,
it.
35, except one.
Oh.
Kano.
35 have
Kinda.
domesticated
Yeah,
it.
35 are domesticated.
But there are
Implementation remains.
disparities in the
Yeah,
domestication.
there are
Because
differences.
largely-
It's not in its entirety.
No, it's not.
Largely,
Entirety,
there are
yeah.
pushbacks around marital rape.
It will be some places of this country, some parts of this country.
Yeah. So this is a call on Kano State. You are the only state in Nigeria
Yeah.
that is yet to implement the VAPP Act.
They're
or
working on it.
Domesticate it.
Who is the first
Right. So
lady?
this is a call to you, the First Lady of Kano,
Ladies.
the First Lady of Kano, the Governor of Kano State. Do the right thing and implement this law. They say all good things come to an end, even the good, the bad, and the ugly. However, there's more where this came from. Join us again, same channel, same time, next week. Let's keep tackling the issues that affect us all. Till then, it's goodbye from all of us.
Tesuo from the epic culture.
Bye.